What is up, my friends on the internet? Back at it with another video, and on today's episode we are talking about my latest addition to my Scrambler 900. Let's get on into it. So here it is, my 2023 Triumph Scrambler 900, and if you've been watching the videos here for a while, you know I have put a lot of parts on this bike. It is a work in progress. I have a dream vision of building a modern classic adventure bike, a bike that looks like it's from the 70s but does all the things that a modern adventure bike will do. And today's episode is on the next step in that journey. And as you saw from the thumbnail, it is all about this SW-Motech set of crash bars, and I gotta say, I am very happy with them. If you watch my videos, you know I ride this bike really hard. I ride it on the highway, I ride it off-road, I jump off curbs with it. The bike gets used. So I've been wanting to put crash bars on it for quite some time now, and I'm glad to finally do it because the bike has definitely been catching some bruises under my control. Obviously, my brake lever here is broken from a tip over. There's also a good bit of scratches there from a tip over. And then just general bumps and bruises all over this bike because, again, I do use it. This is no show queen. In my about year of ownership, I put about 10,000 hard miles on it. It's done 2 iron butts. It's done a bunch of off-road trails. It has jumped off more curbs than I'm willing to admit. And it is time that I actually start protecting my investment. And I believe these crash bars are going to be a great addition for doing that. One thing I realized when on the last iron butt was that because of my height, I am 5'11", I like a little bit extra legroom than this bike can provide on some of the long highway stretches. So when it came to crash bars, instead of going with the lowers that are available for this bike, I went with these SW-Motech ones because they are uppers, and it will give me a place to rest my leg. Let me set the camera down and I'll show you exactly what that looks like. While it doesn't seem like much, I promise being able to put your legs in just a variety of different positions when you're on a 1,000-mile in one-shot ride makes all the difference in the world. On the last iron butt, I found myself just standing my foot right here. It is on the exhaust, but this heat shield works pretty well. I just rode up here and I'm touching this with my bare hand, so obviously it works, but I found myself putting my leg there for a vast majority of the ride. Sometimes I even scrunched up and put it right here. I would cross it over, do all kinds of things just to vary up your positions and get yourself a little bit more comfortable. Having that extra option that is just rigid to the bike is going to be really great. And then there's also the obvious that as a content creator, I'll be able to strap cameras to this. I'll be able to put my 360 camera arms onto this and get some really cool shots of the bike from the side, from both sides. Having that hard mounting spot for my cameras is going to be nice. But most importantly, it's just another thing that's going to keep this bike as safe as possible when I'm riding it too hard. Like I said, this brake lever is broken, and obviously my bar end mirror is missing from this side. Let's guess why that is. It's because I broke it. Because I am constantly breaking things on this bike, but that will help. It was a small investment to make to kind of hopefully save myself a little bit of coin. Thus far, I have not damaged the exhaust system at all, which is great. The heat shields kind of act as a little bit of a buffer. This bar will protect them completely. On the other side, there's not a whole lot for it to protect. If we're being honest, if the bike dropped on this side, my bar end is going to take the brunt. I'm going to lose this mirror for sure if it falls over. Ask me how I know, but I digress. if this didn't take the complete brunt, likely my bag would. So this side of the bike was fairly safe anyway, but obviously you're not gonna run just one crash bar. And like I said earlier, having a place to put my foot is gonna be real nice on the next long trip. But SW-Motech did not send me this part. I bought this with my own money. They probably don't even know I exist, honestly. I've reached out to them a couple times and gotten no response, so I'm fairly certain they don't know I exist. But I can say so far, with having just ridden around on it for the day, I really like it. I like getting on the highway and throwing my leg up there. I like the way it looks. It gives me more of that kind of old school adventure riding vibe that I'm going for. And I also like the way that I completely lodged a socket in there and it's still hanging on. When I get home, I guess I'm gonna figure out how to get that out of there. But I will say, speaking of that, the install is tricky. As SW-Motech generally does, the instructions were a few pictures that were barely in English and they weren't helpful at all, so you got to do a little bit of figuring out. Just in case you're watching this because you're struggling with installing your SW-Motech crash guards on a Scrambler 900, I'm going to give you my tips now just to hopefully save you some time and hassle now that I've done it successfully. For one, there's two different lengths of screws and spacers. The short ones go up top, the long ones go in the bottom. Getting the factory hardware out was a little bit of a trick. So I reached in from this side to access the nuts on the other side to lock into them. And then on the other side, I just used a standard socket and broke that free. I did use a cheater bar, and I realized that I've been using the same cheater bar for maybe 15 years. So shout out to that being the most useful tool in my toolbox. And then for tightening everything else down, it was just kind of finicky. For this side, I slid an open-ended wrench just in this little seam right there and managed to grab onto that nut just enough to torque it down. And then for the top, kind of similar thing. I just snuck it up in there barely. I think if you had some more like little adjustable bits, you could probably get in there easier, but I managed with some standard hand tools and a couple little hobbled together things that I'll show you. When I had to put the nut back on this side, getting it lined up was really hard because I can't fit my hand in there. So I attached it to a magnet and fed it through on the other side. Held it in place with that extendable magnet just enough to spin this wrench a couple times and get it to bite. And then most importantly, you have to leave the wrench in the bike because you're a fool and all your YouTube friends need to know. But all in all, with having to hobble together some weird little tool bit ends and a little bit of trickery, I got this all put together in about an hour. I didn't bang my knuckles up, which is pretty typical for me, so I would say it's a success. My eagle-eyed viewers will realize that my SW-Motech skid plate is no longer on the bike, and that is because I had a pretty significant oil leak. But, after I fixed it, I just wanted to make sure I could keep an eye on it to make sure it wasn't continuing to leak. So I left that skid plate off so that if any oil is developing in there, I would see it and I could address it again and fix it again, or for the first time, time will tell. But yeah, you guys know I like SW-Motech parts, so it was a pretty easy choice to throw another one of their things on there. They haven't let me down yet. While I have switched away from their Legends gear and I'm running this really great Hepco and Becker bag now, I do still run their tank bag. I still do run their skid plate most times. I was happy to add their crash bars because I know they're gonna be good. If you've been watching this channel for a long time, you know way back when I had a Kawasaki Versys 650 that I absolutely loved, and it was completely dressed in SW-Motech stuff from top to bottom, lots of SW-Motech. So I go way back with the brand. I really like it, and I was happy to throw my money at it. But that's it, y'all. This is a pretty quick and short one. I just wanted to show you these crash bars. There's not a whole lot to them. It's not like it's a really complicated part, but it's on the bike, and every time I put a part on the bike, I want to show you guys. So that's that. If you like this one, go ahead and hit thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, please, please, please hit subscribe. Of course, if you have any questions about these SW-Motech crash bars or anything in regards to the Triumph Scrambler 900 in general, you can always reach out to me. You can drop a comment below. You can contact me on Instagram at DailyCosworks. And of course, if you want to see more behind the scenes stuff, you can follow me on Patreon, also at DailyCosworks. And last but not least, go out, have yourself a fantastic day. Hopefully it's not as cold where you are as it is right now, because this is miserable. I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.